What is up, coordinators and naturals? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are concluding our journey through Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Astray. Last time, the Junk Guild went to the Gigafloat to help out with the new mass driver. They were attacked by an upgraded Goldframe. In this episode, we will see Goldframe achieve its final form. So let's get into this. When Lo fell out of the red frame, Guy in the blue frame caught him. However, 8 also fell and was swept up by the ocean. On an island, a bunch of kids happen to find 8 who washed up on shore. The computer asks the kids if they've seen Lo or a red-framed mobile suit. The kids take 8 to the hillside where they find a downed Jin. There is a mine close by where Alliance forces are forcing the citizens to work in the mine. The kids connect 8 to the Jin and it helps drive the EA forces out of town. One girl thanks 8 and they take a nap in a meadow. Lo finally finds 8 and takes him back to the ship. 8 refers to this incident as merely a dream. Remember, in the Blue Frame OVA, we were introduced to Sword Calamity and the pilot Ed the Ripper, but wasn't given any context. In this issue, we are introduced to Ed the Ripper and given just a little bit more context, but not too much. Unfortunately, the bigger picture of Edward Harrelson won't be painted until we get to Gundam Seed Destiny Astray. For now, we know that he was a former F-7D Spearhead pilot, where he earned himself the name Ed the Ripper. The F-7D Spearhead is a multi-purpose air superiority fighter. It is armed with 4 20mm machine guns, a weapon bay, and a 6-missile launcher. It has the ability to outmatch a Din in terms of speed and range. This design will later evolve into the Skygrasper. He is currently fighting in the recapture of Victoria, also known as the Third Battle of Victoria. The first battle was Zaf's failed attempt to take control of the base. A second was Zaf's successful attempt at taking the base, and the third was EA retaking the base back. It was a week of fighting before they were able to drive Zaf out of the base. Afterward, we meet up with Rondo. He is trying to persuade Ed to fight for him instead of being an EA lapdog. He is also doing what most Gundam side characters do best, eat a burger. He likes the idea, but he isn't going to abandon the EA. We also meet the Sorocious team. This is a group of clones based off of the DNA of an ace pilot, Good Vaer. They have been modified to be subservient to naturals and can't hurt them. Serpent's Tail waves goodbye to the junk crew as they take off into outer space. They were also able to complete their mission of protecting the Gigafloat, but Guy is concerned that Zaft will come back and attack again. Reverend Malkio assures him that because the Gigafloat can constantly be moving, they won't stay in one place for too long. They meet up with Liam, who has secured them a new ship. The team goes to check it out and are amazed. The new ship, the Rehome, is a modified version of the Cornelius-class ship. This is a support ship for the Alliance, and only 3 to 5 of them were made. Before Liam left for space, the professor gives him the GG unit. What is the GG unit? Lo and the crew were invited by the Friends of the George Glenn Society to visit Evidence 1. George Glenn visited Jupiter and found a fossil and showing to the world that they aren't the only planet with life. Does this go anywhere? No. As they gaze upon the fossil, Blue Cosmos attacks the facility. A man named Mond gives his life protecting Evidence 1. As he lays dying, he gives Lo the GG unit, which holds all the wisdom of mankind. What does that mean? Well, it just so happens to be an AI of George Glenn and all of his knowledge. The AI will function as Rehome's new captain. Unlike other Cornelius-class ships, the Rehome is upgraded with a long-range positron blaster cannon. It also has a 105mm linear cannon and 2 crane arms which can hold a shield. Ame no Mihashira, or Pillars of Heaven, is a space station controlled by the Sahaku family. It was constructed in CE 58 and was built to manufacture a space elevator, but once war broke out, they started using it to develop weapons. Rondo is plotting his move in front of a mysterious person. They just received the news that Orb was destroyed and Yuna Atha is dead, which means that Rondo is now the head of the family and thus now a huge player in the government. He recognizes that Kigali is most likely his biggest competitor. Orb leadership is chosen by majority vote from the head of the 5 families. He also notes that he was able to get a supply of sword calamities because Azrael from Blue Cosmos. As a neutral nation, they have the power to do business with both EA and Zaft. As we seen in Destiny, Orb eventually was gobbled up by the EA, but it seems that Azrael and Blue Cosmos has no idea that Rondo is a coordinator and that he is doing business with his enemy. Also, one thing to note, Rondo is a guy, but the Tokyo Pop version referred to him as a girl because he is androgynous AF. I didn't know it was a guy either until doing research. Proper translations were very hard back in the day. I guess even for people who translate it. Womp womp. Back on the rehome, everyone is a little creeped out and annoyed by the arrogance of AI George Glenn. The professor tells the crew that it is connected to the ship so she could do less work. They start loading the mobile suits into the new ship. Lo asks AI George Glenn why the coordinators that he created are fighting with naturals. He tells Lo that if you want change, you must fix it. He also tells Lo that the true meaning of a coordinator is to bridge the gap between humanity and the next step of human evolution. Unfortunately, most coordinators think that they are the next step in human evolution, rather than the bridge. The AI George Glenn believes that anyone who helps humanity achieve this goal can be considered a coordinator. He tells Lo that he is a true coordinator. The ship takes off. They receive a distress signal from a downed ship not too far away. They decide this will be their first mission in the new ship. They will also try to sell them new parts and make some money on the side. At the ship, it just so happens to be Rondo who is attacking. The rehome comes in and notices the gold frame is different and has been upgraded since their last encounter. The MBF P01 Amatsu Gundam Astray gold frame Amatsu. Really? When the gold frame fought the red frame at the Gigafloat, it was equipped with the Trikaros offensive shield system and what is technically referred to as its incomplete form. This is the complete form. It is also mounted with a new backpack, 2 weapons. The Magano Ikitachi is an energy absorption blade that can leech energy from its opponents. It must make physical contact to absorb energy, but the MC Tech helps Gold Frame get closer without being noticed. The Magashita no Hoko shot lancers are penetrating weapons like the Trikaros darts. Its backpack beam sabers have been removed, and its main beam saber is incorporated into the beam rifle. We see a similar beam rifle trick used in Universal Century 0087 as well. Lo heads out in the red frame to face his enemy. They notice that the gold frame destroyed all of the escape pods. Back at Serpent's Tail, they get a message from the informant. Usually, Guy wouldn't care, but perhaps he has information on the gold frame. Rondo keeps using Mirage Colloid tech to disappear. Lo can't keep up with the unit. Goldframe comes in and starts leeching energy from the red frame. The rehome comes in to help out Lo. The Goldframe launches rockets towards the Junker's ship. They use their 2 claw arms to hold shields coated with laminated armor. They are able to deflect the attack. Lo pulls out the Gerbera Strait and begins attacking, but Rondo is able to deflect his attack until Lo comes in and breaks the Gerbera Strait on the Trikaros shield. Lo is starting to lose hope. 8 tells him to get his shit together. Kisato begins crying for fear of Lo's life. She had enough. She goes out in a Baku that they recently acquired. George Glenn is helping Kisato pilot. She goes in and gets a hit on the gold frame, but Rondo pushes her out into space. She is too far and loses connection with the ship. She begins freaking out. George Glenn abandons Kisato to allocate more resources to the rehome. She begins freaking out even more. Suddenly, out of nowhere comes Lo and the blue frame second L. The MBF P03 second L Gundam Astray blue frame second L is an upgraded version that Guy did on the blue frame after an attack that happened in a battle with the Sorocious clones. Like a Rob Liefeld comic, this unit has smaller feet, but this actually gives it an advantage in jumping power, and it has retractable feet knives. What makes this upgrade special is the tactical arms backpack system, which was designed by none other than Lo. It is a transformable backpack with 3 forms. The flight form is the standard form of this unit and allows for high maneuverability and irregular movements. In this form, the Gatling gun from the Gatling form is accessible. The sword form turns the tactical arm into a giant sword with a sharp edge and laminated armor, and the Gatling form turns the unit into a turret and increases the Gatling gun's accuracy greatly. It is a 4-barrel Gatling gun and uses the sword blades from the sword form to anchor itself into the ground. It usually requires additional power. Guy activates the sword form and throws the sword to Lo for him to use. He catches it and begins fighting the Goldframe once again. Lo is able to destroy the Goldframe's arm. He doesn't finish off Rondo and takes off and tells him to think about all this chaos and destruction he caused. Rondo fires at Lo with his back turned, but a piece of the broken Gundam Astray deflected the beam. This bitch really is lucky. From behind, Guy uses a combat knife to finish off the Goldframe. A ship approaches Guy and the Blue Frame. It is the Izumo-class ship, the Kusanagi, Orb's flagship, and only ship currently after the destruction of Orb. Guy retreats. A sword calamity brings the Goldframe back to the Kusanagi. Rondo, Mina Sahaku, is dead. Overlooking his body is his twin sister, Rondo, Gina Sahaku. She says that she will continue to shape the world and his image. She heads back to the Ame no Mahashira. On the rehome, they just left the graveyard where they fixed up the Gundam Astray. They happen to get a new mission where they must supply parts and fix up some mechanical suits in the abandoned Mendel colony. This is a colony where the Ultimate Coordinator project was created, as well as the immaculate Kira Yamato, who is the one true Ultimate Coordinator. It also is where clones of Al Deflaga were created. The destruction of the colony is due to a Blue Cosmos terrorist attack, but it seems the masses think that it is due to some type of biological outbreak, which keeps people in fear of ever pillaging the location. The Junk Guild heads to the colony. Lo launches in the Red Frame, and Liam and Kisato launch in the Baku. They run into the test pilot, Diller Rojo, who is piloting a Goon underground mobility test type. Unlike the water variants, the UTA-TE-6 Goon underwater mobility test type looks and functions similar to that of a mole and is designed for underground mobility. Apparently, along with drills, the Goon also uses the scale system, so it relies on vibrations for movement. I imagine this makes it useful in water as well. Along with the digging claw, it also has a phonon maser cannon. The sensors on the Goon are shot and need to be fixed. Luckily, it isn't a problem for Lo. They find out that Diller is assigned to search for George Glenn's DNA. Kisato tells him that they happen to have an AI replica built off of George Glenn's DNA, sort of, but Diller says he wants to find his own sample. Diller tells Lo that plant citizens aren't all a part of Zaft, and some are just trying to make things that aren't for military purposes. Lo is shocked about this for some reason, but Diller gives him a pep talk about believing in your dreams and shit. This inspires Lo to keep moving forward. They fix up the Goon and take off for their next adventure. And that concludes our adventures in Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Astray. I hope you enjoyed these background players to the first Alliance Plant War. I love the Junk Guild and Serpent's Tail and wish they played a bigger picture in Gundam Seed and not just a 1-second shot of the rehome behind the 3 ships alliance. Like I said, we will return to the Junk Guild in Gundam Seed Astray R and Serpent's Tail and Gundam Seed Astray B in the future, but for now we are going to continue moving forward to Gundam Seed X Astray. But that will do it for now, coordinators. Remember, if you are ever in trouble, your best buddy will always come to help. Peace.